Hey there guys, so I want to do this quick video on diet. Okay, something that a lot of people might not think affects subliminal results, but it really does. So I am in Chatsworth at the moment, which is near the Peak District in Derbyshire, and some revelation just occurred to me. Now, a lot of people when they use subliminals don't get as good as results as some other people. And a lot of people always kind of wonder why, well, I've been using it correctly, I've been doing the right amounts of things, I've had enough sleep and whatnot, and yet they're still not getting as profound results as a lot of other people. Now, results obviously vary for a lot of people, and I'm going to tell you why right now. The answer should be really quite simple, and it's because really people have stronger and weaker brains. And the reason being is because of nutrition. It is not down to genetics. A very, very small amount is due to genetics, but it's normally the environment. Okay, so you need to feed your brain with the right nutrition because subliminals are very taxing. So what do we know about the brain? We know the brain is mostly comprised of fat. So it's pretty much intuitive to assume that we have to consume fat. The only problem with this, since 1977, the government put out this guideline saying that saturated fat, which is, by the way, what the brain is made of, saturated fat, animal fat, is bad for you. It causes cholesterol, it causes heart attacks, it causes strokes, it causes all of these ailments. And this is quite simply wrong. Because at the moment there is this rise in dementia, there's this rise in Alzheimer's, and it's all correlated with this changing guidelines in 1977. Even things like obesity, for example, there is a positive correlation between when the guidelines was put out and what the government has, what the government said when the guidelines was put out, and all these mental and physical health issues. Now back to the brain. So the brain needs fat, it needs animal fat, because we are animals, quite simply. So what you should be doing in order to improve your subliminal results is consuming that. For example, it would be things like goose fat, duck fat, beef fat. Fats like that are really good. Putting it in your sandwiches, for example, or just incorporating it into any foods is really good. In fact, there was one story with a guy, he didn't use animal fat, but he used coconut oil, and he had dementia, and he used about 2 tablespoons of coconut oil every single day, and magically his dementia disappeared. So consume a lot of fat. And in fact, if you want to go even further, what you should do is you should go on the ketogenic diet. The ketogenic diet is when you basically just consume meat, meat and eggs. I wouldn't recommend consuming milk just because it can cause a lot of inflammatory issues, especially if you have, for example, an autoimmune condition. It isn't the best thing for you to consume, okay, but having meat and just having meat means that you get rid of grains from your diet, and grains are really bad for the gut. If you think about how the gut processes food in terms of grains, it's like a string of pearls. So when you're trying to break that down, you're actually yanking it apart. The gut is yanking it apart bit by bit. Okay, and it's very taxing on it. So this ketogenic diet is a kind of an eliminatory diet as well. And I've been on it for 2 months, and I've noticed a massive increase in clarity and happiness and motivation, and even just intelligence in general. It's crazy. Okay, look into it a little bit more. The ketogenic diet, it does seem, or it does sound like I'm missing a lot of things from it, but for example, even things like vitamin C, if you consume meat raw, lamb, for example, beef, the safe meats, by the way, that don't contain or barely contain any E. coli at all, okay, then you will notice this massive increase in your happiness and just your ability to remain clear-headed and get things that you want in life, because it contains enzymes. Raw meat contains the enzymes needed to break down other foods, and this is something that we're very deficient in, by the way, these days. One of the main reasons for the example and the rise in mental health conditions is quite simply because we're not getting the enzymes that we need. We're not getting enough beneficial bacteria, which is what the raw meat provides as well. Because we're like overcooking food these days, we're sanitizing everything to hell, and it's messing up our gut bacteria. This is why people are taking things like probiotics, which is just bacteria, because we're not getting enough of it. And we all know that the gut is connected to the brain. And the reason why the gut is connected to the brain, by the way, is because 80% of your immune system is located in the gut. And what does the gut do? The gut produces your neurotransmitters. Yes, your neurotransmitters. So it's where you get your dopamine and your serotonin from. So pretty much your gut is everything. Diet is everything. So have a lot of animal fats. Make sure you're consuming more meat in your diet, okay? Do not listen to the government. They do not have your interest at heart. They are pushing an agenda. They are culling and they are cutting down livestock, okay? They do not want you to lead a healthy and happy life. Do not listen to the health practitioners, the very conventional mainstream health practitioners when it comes to longevity. Okay, they have a vested interest in making sure that we do not live long lives because they're trying to cut down the population size. Because at the moment, with the way things are projected and the way that things are going, we're not going to have enough food to feed the future populations because it is simply too big. So another reason as well why having animal fats is also really good for you, and having a ketogenic diet as well, is because the brain communicates via neurons, and these neurons are made of myelin sheath. And myelin sheath, the way that you can actually create myelin sheath is through fat. So the more fat you consume, the faster you'll think, the faster you'll be able to talk as well, strangely enough. And the better you'll be able to problem solve, and just you'll be a lot clearer headed. So give it a try. Incorporate more animal fats into your diet and get more subliminal results. See you next time.